Hey guys, Scott and Football here, back with another video, and today's video is we're back with another video for the Premier League score predictions, and we're on game week 12. But before we get into the score predictions, let's go over the results last week. Starting with me, of course. Right, I got 1 point last week, and the guest got 1 right. The reason for this is that the Villa versus Newcastle game got called off, so I thought, because I wanted to make sure all the games were in there, so I thought I could give me something and the guest something. Technically, it doesn't really count because it's a game we'd gone ahead and we'd got the prediction wrong. We'd have got none of them right, so but neither of us won, so it finished 1-1. But at least I didn't lose this week against the guest. So right, this week we have got another guest on, but I will reveal the guest after I've given you my score predictions. So right guys, let's get straight into the video then. The first game of this week is tomorrow night, which is Leeds United versus West Ham United. Both teams are doing pretty well though. I'll say West Ham are doing better though. On the odds, you'll probably fancy West Ham to get the win, because West Ham are 8th and Leeds are 14th. Leeds are doing okay, but he's recently lost 3-1 to Chelsea, and West Ham are in pretty good form, even though they lost 3-1 to Man United. So both teams lost. So both teams are going to be really up for this game. For this game, I do actually fancy Leeds to get the win here. Because if you don't play the really top teams like Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea, and Man City and Man United, they do beat these sort of teams. So I'm West Ham. They'll be up for another win as well. But however, I'm going to say Leeds are going to win this game. And just at Ellen Road as well. I'm going to say Leeds United 2, West Ham United 1. So right on to the next game now, on to the West Midlands derbies. We're on to my team now, Wolves. So Wolves versus Aston Villa. Wolves, we lost 4-0 to Liverpool last. I don't really want to talk about that. But they didn't have a game last week because Newcastle got a lot of positive cases, so the game has to be called off. But before that, they lost 2 games in a row to Brighton and West Ham. 2 VAR controversies against them there. And with us, we had actually beaten Arsenal before we lost 4-0 to Liverpool, but that performance was an absolute shambles. And on goal difference, we scored 11 this season and conceded 15, so we've actually our goal difference is about -4. So in the league, I think a lot of other teams have scored way more goals than us. We're just outside the relegation zone. We are 16th in the table for most goals scored this season. Well, the defence ain't too bad. Now Raul Jimenez is down with this fractured skull, so we're down. We haven't got a striker now. We're going to have to sign somebody in January, but the only trouble if Raul Jimenez comes back, he might not be able to get in the team again. We all know for a start, the striker if he's offering him, well, it's not going to be English, it'll be some Portuguese guy. But on to the game now, on what I think will happen. I do reckon, as this is a derby, anything can happen. And I can't remember the last time Villa beat us at Molineux now. I'm going to say I'll take a draw against Villa, and that's what I think the score is going to be. I'm going to say Wolves 2, Aston Villa 2. So right on to the next game, Newcastle United versus West Brom. Well, obviously Newcastle game got called off last time against Aston Villa because there were so many positive cases for them. And so, but before that, just seeing how they did beat Crystal Palace away from home. Joelinton scoring, because he didn't score too many, but he did show his quality in that game though. And now West Brom, they did lose 4-1 to Crystal Palace last game. Benteke and Zaha getting 2 for Crystal Palace, 2 goals each for Crystal Palace. West Brom got back on their returns to make it 1-1, and then after that they got a sending off. Mata Pereira got sent off. For this game here, I do reckon it's going to be a pretty boring game. It could possibly be 0-0, but I do think it will be a draw. So I'm going to say Newcastle United 1, West Brom 1. Right, the next game now, which is the Manchester Derby. Manchester United versus Manchester City. Well, Man United are obviously out of the Champions League now. However, but they've won the last 4 games in the Premier League. Being behind, they were behind against Southampton and West Ham. Then they came back to win the game, so they know how to grind out results at the Premier League though. And they currently are 6th in the league. However, I do think Ollie's under a bit of pressure now. He could lose his job soon because he got into Europa League now. I don't know how much more time the Glazers will give him. Right, Manchester City now are obviously through to the Champions League round of 16, and they're doing their professional jobs in the league at the moment. So I do think this will. We don't know, Man United could beat Man City here, but however, I do think Man United could lose. So I think it'll only be a narrow loss to them. So I'm going to say Manchester United 1, Manchester City 2. I do think Man City got a little bit more quality than them. Right, to the next game, Everton versus Chelsea. Well, we all know Everton of recent times have actually gone off it. They last got a 1-1 draw against Burnley, and now they currently sit 9th in the league, so they have gone off it slightly. And the last win was against Fulham, and that was only they conceded 2 against them. So the last proper win was on the 3rd of October against Brighton, when they showed all their quality. Against Fulham, Fulham could have actually got a draw, possibly got a win against them if they would have scored that penalty. Fulham were actually better than them in that game. I watched Everton play last week. God, they were poor last week against Burnley. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is carrying them slightly. He's top scorer in the league for them. And Chelsea, at the moment, they're 3rd in the league. They're challenging for that title, so they still be with the amount of money they spent. They're through to the Champions League now, round of 16. Now in all competitions, they're unbeaten in. See how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're unbeaten in 14 games in all competitions, and they're unbeaten in the league as well. Chelsea, I think they will win this game. I'm going to say Everton 0, Chelsea 2. Chelsea could win the title, but I don't think they're too strong enough. But they are in great form though. So right on to the next game, which is Southampton versus Sheffield United. Obviously, Southampton got a great win against Brighton last time, getting a penalty in the last minute, and Danny Ings back from injury, getting the penalty to win the game after going back from a knee injury as they had knee surgery. And while Sheffield United, they've only got 1 point all season. They've lost 6 games in a row now. I don't know how they didn't get anything out. They could have got a draw against Leicester, and they should have got something out of the West Brom game. Next, they've got Southampton. They're a difficult team to beat, and then after that, Manchester United. So it's not going to be easy for them. They could, bearing in mind they used to be in League One. Sheffield United, can't see them staying up now. If they'd have got something out of the West Brom and Leicester game, I could just see them staying up. So I think that personally, they are playing better than West Brom personally and Burnley. I think they are playing better than them, but they're just not getting the results. So I think Southampton will turn up for this game again, as Danny Ings has got one goal back after injury, so that might boost his morale up after coming back from injury. He could score for Southampton, but Southampton get the win. So I'm going to go Southampton 2, Sheffield United 0. Right, on to the next game, Crystal Palace versus Spurs. Well, obviously Crystal Palace got a fantastic win away at West Brom, winning 5-1 away at 5-1. goals from Zaha and Benteke, but the one was an own goal. Benteke got 2 actually, and so did Zaha. It proves how much better they play with Zaha. On Spurs side, they're top of the league, and they won the derby last, and they stood to get through to the Europa League round of 32 tonight, as they hit that Antwerp team from Belgium. Because after I've done this video, I will go off to watch some Europa League football. I think the reason why Palace won in that game against West Brom, because West Brom had that sending off, which made it a little bit easier for them, because that game could have been a draw, because everything changed when West Brom had that sending off, making it a bit easy for them. But they might still have won anyway, though. But it wouldn't have been a threatening for West Brom then. I think Spurs will show the quality again. I think it will be a narrow win, and you can't write off Palace either. So I think Spurs will win anyway. So I'm going to say Crystal Palace 0, Spurs 1. So right, the next game, Fulham versus Liverpool. Well, Fulham lost to Manchester City last, but it wasn't exactly a thrashing. They did lose 2-0. And they did beat Leicester as well. So Fulham are actually 17th. They're not in the relegation zone, but they are just 1 point outside of it. Could they stay up? I don't know. I don't think people really want Fulham in the Premier League. I'll be honest here. I think the Premier League one of the big clubs that are down in the Championship at the moment, like Forest in there eventually. As well as the teams like Watford that went down last season. So they want all the big teams that have been out of the Premier League for years, and they want them all back in there. That's what I think personally. And Liverpool beat us last, obviously. Liverpool might have conceded 17 goals this season, but that ain't that fault because of the amount of injuries they've got. Let's not forget the through to the good defensively in the Champions League. They haven't been too great in defence in the Premier League. Well, that's not their fault with the amount of injuries they've got, like I just said. And they did win beat us 4-0 last, and we're not going to talk about so too much. Liverpool, I don't think they'll win the league this season, but you can't write them off though, because they're scoring plenty of goals and they're the top scoring team in the league. So I'm going to say it's going to be a thumping win for Liverpool, and I'm going to say, no disrespect to Fulham here, but I'm going to say Fulham 0, Liverpool 3. So right, to the next game, which is Leicester City versus Brighton. Well, Leicester got a much needed win against Sheffield United after their slump in some of the results they had. And where Brighton, when they play well, they are a very decent team. They got robbed by VAR last year in Southampton. They could have got another point there on the board. Remember they beat Villa as well, and they drew to Liverpool. And but I do think Leicester will get another win here. I'm going to say, because when Leicester get a win, they go on some right form and start winning some games. They were close on getting Champions League last year, but they did bottle it. But Europa League, I think they were struggling in Champions League, but I think they could quite far in Europa League. I'm not too sure actually though. So I'm going to say, I think Leicester will win here. I'm going to say Leicester City 2, Brighton 1. Right, to the next game now, which is Arsenal versus Burnley. Well, obviously Arsenal have lost to us. They do seem to be struggling. They're 15th place at the moment. And I think the only form they're sort of finding is really in the Europa League. They did lose a derby to Spurs last as well, poor defeat. And however, Burnley, I could possibly see them getting a draw, or I could possibly see them beating Arsenal. However, I do think if it's going to be a draw, I'm going to say Arsenal 1, Burnley 1. Right, that's the end of my score predictions now, but I will go on to the guest predictions and I'll reveal the guest now. Right, the guest here is someone that goes to my primary school. He's called Dylan Ray. He's a Liverpool fan, and he'll be happy doing the predictions this week because his team won last week. Beat us 4-0. So right, I'll go through his predictions now. These are scores. These are his predictions for all the games. Leeds United 2, West Ham United 1, Wolves 3, Villa 2, Newcastle 2, West Brom 0, Man United versus Man United to say Newcastle 1, West Brom 1. I'll go back to one just to make sure I did say that correctly. Man United. One sec, I didn't read that Newcastle 1 right. Right, let me start the prediction. What he said again. Leeds 2, West Ham 1. Wolves 3, Villa 2. Newcastle 2, West Brom 0. Man United 1, Man City 3. Everton 1, Chelsea 3. Southampton 2, Sheffield United 0. Crystal Palace 0. Tottenham 2. Fulham 0. Liverpool 3. Leicester 1. Brighton 0. And Arsenal 0. Burnley 0. Respect to him for saying a win to Wolves. I'm really pleased with him saying a win to Wolves this week. And I appreciate anyone that decides to come on. I'm always delighted to have somebody on here and me to say their predictions. So right guys, that will be the end of the video now. So if you did enjoy today's video, do give it a like, and also do subscribe to the channel, or to turn on your notifications every time I make a video. And I think people are really enjoying my videos even further now because I've got all the guests on. So, see you all around guys, hope you all enjoyed, bye guys.